Stephen Glover, why I'm so queasy about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle cozying up to rapacious bank giants. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have every right to earn their keep if they are going to become financially independent. They can't be expected to live on air. In fact, if the past is any guide, they are going to need an awful lot more than air to get by, since they are both used to the good things in life, though Meghan's enjoyment of them is obviously more recent. But if they intend to go it alone, how can they earn the sizable sums of money they will need to sustain what is, by anyone's measure, a highly enviable standard of living? Is it even possible for them to enrich themselves without causing embarrassment, and even damage, to the royal family, to which they will inevitably remain connected in people's minds whatever separate furrow they plow? Although it's still early days, they haven't got off to a brilliant start. We learned last week that Harry and Meghan flew from Vancouver Island to Miami, some 2,800 miles, where Harry gave a speech at an exclusive function organized by J.P. Morgan, America's largest bank. The firm reportedly provided a private jet for the couple, despite them having repeatedly called for the world to embrace more environmentally friendly ways to travel. They could have gone by commercial airline and left a far smaller carbon footprint. We don't know for certain if the Duke was paid by J.P. Morgan, but the suggestion that he received up to £400,000 hasn't been denied by royal spin doctors. If he had done it for free, they probably would have told us. Meanwhile, today's Mail reports that the Duke of Sussex's representatives held talks with U.S. investment bank Goldman Sachs last November in connection with his charities. Neither the speech nor the reported discussions amount to a hanging offense. But it's impossible to forget that both banks have experienced a fair amount of controversy over the years. They are not renowned for caring for widows and orphans. Goldman, in particular, has drawn spirited criticism and been described as a vampire bank. In 2008, it was at the center of the scandal of subprime mortgages being packaged as solid investments with a good return, and sold on to unsuspecting investors. Yet a year later, when the world was reeling from the aftershocks of predatory capitalism, Goldman Sachs was paying thousands of its staff bonuses amounting to hundreds of thousands of dollars. You may still ask, why shouldn't Harry speak at a J.P. Morgan event, even in return for payment? And what is wrong with his team talking to Goldman about his charities? My answer is that he is still a member of the royal family, even if he and his wife are in the process of trying to distance themselves from it. Ordinary mortals can have dealings with such banks without being hopelessly compromised. For example, former Prime Minister Tony Blair has pocketed many millions of pounds for acting as an advisor to J.P. Morgan. The outgoing governor of the Bank of England, Mark Carney, spent 13 years at the start of his career working for Goldman Sachs. If former prime ministers and heads of central banks can make money out of such ruthless financial institutions, it may seem a bit hard to carp at Harry for having anything to do with them. But whether he likes it or not, he remains a royal. And the royal family, notwithstanding its periodic black sheep, enjoys the trust and confidence of people, partly because it exists above the cutthroat and occasionally unedifying world of investment banking. Of course, its members enjoy huge financial privileges. But for the most part we can see where their money comes from, and most of us believe that they, the Queen in particular, are driven by duty and honor. Their wealth doesn't come from having sharp elbows in commerce or finance. Indeed, if one of them shows too much interest in making advantageous deals, Prince Andrew springs to mind, the public is dismayed. All this may seem hard on Harry and Meghan, who are attempting to make their way in the world by earning their own money, and trying to reduce, and ultimately eliminate, their financial dependence on Prince Charles. But if there is no such thing as a free lunch in the world, there is definitely nothing remotely resembling a disinterested bank. The likes of J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs are anxious to see what commercial benefit they can extract from an association with the couple. The truth is that such institutions are drawn to Harry and Meghan like wasps to a honeypot in search of the very things the couple claim they wish to play down, their royal connections. Even if Goldman Sachs's discussions with Harry's representatives were restricted to his charities, One can be certain the bank is intent on turning any contact it may have with the couple to its ultimate profit. Does Harry realize this? Possibly not. He has knocked around the world, yet inevitably lived a rarefied sort of existence. Meghan is closer to the hard realities of life. She has, after all, earned her living. My suggestion is not that they should wear sackcloth and ashes and eat gruel in order to preserve the dignity of the royal family. I only say that their money-making activity shouldn't focus on mighty banks or other financial bodies, which are bound to be motivated by commercial self-interest. I believe that by escaping to North America, they have put themselves in an invidious position. They apparently want to make a barrow load of money. Yet it is not easy to see how they can do so without undermining the institution to which they still owe a tremendous sense of loyalty. Compare this slightly unseemly rumpus with a visit paid by Prince Charles, the Duchess of Cornwall, Prince William and the Duchess of Cambridge to the new Defence Medical Rehabilitation Centre in Nottinghamshire on Tuesday, where they met severely disabled servicemen. All four royals were in evident harmony, and Charles and William displayed mutual affection. There is little doubt the visitors will have lifted many hearts. The party, including Prince Charles, who admittedly sometimes likes to travel in style, then took the train back to London on tickets costing £66.50 per person. This is the life of duty and service Prince Harry appears to have renounced. But it's still not too late for him and Meghan to alter the balance of their lives so they spend much more time fulfilling their royal responsibilities in Britain. If they stay for the most part in North America, they will experience the irreconcilable contradictions of their new position. Making megabucks out of banks is not consonant with being even semi-detached members of the royal family. You can respectably make squillions out of J.P. Morgan if, and only if, you are prepared to be Mr. and Mrs. Windsor and completely renounce royalty. And I can't, for the life of me, imagine Harry and Meghan want to do that.